Welcome back, everybody. What's going on? What is happening on a Thursday evening? I hope you're doing well. It is good to see you all. It's good to be seen by you all. Of course, the person being the glad about the seeing and doing the seeing is me, Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live, loud and clear on a Thursday night, a late Thursday night. If you're over here on the or on the right coast, rather. Left if you're facing south, on the right coast. Anyway, hope you guys are doing good. But anyway, so yep, I am here and you guys are here. It's kind of funny because I was feeling pretty tired actually. If I may be honest with you guys, and I think I may, I was feeling kind of clapped out. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna play Doom on Russian Overkill, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'll make my apologies. But then I thought, no, I owe it to you guys, right? You know, come on, hang out with you. And I'm glad everybody's here. So hello, Robert Turner, Daniel Rowan, Derek Mann. It's Derek Mann. Nordic Maelstrom, Clanner Jake, Graph Paper Architect, TB Flowers. Who else is out there? I think I got you all, at least for the time being. Hey, let me ask you a favor. If you're watching over on Twitter, and according to this here thing, there's 20 of you hanging out over there. Say hello. Just click over there on the right hand side of the window if you're not watching on mobile. I'm not sure how it works on mobile. But if you're watching on the desktop, you should have a place over on the right. You could say hi. So I would love to hear from you. Chris Kane, hello. Thank you for stopping in. Campaigns and Conquest. Good to see you. Jimmy Invictus back at home. I might add, finally out of the clutches of those madmen. Glad you're back on the mend, my friend. But anyway, I didn't ask you, Clanner Jake. I know you're here on YouTube, so that's why I was talking to the people on Twitter. But anyway, so yeah, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Except the monthly. I know they're terribly behind. I have no excuses. But anyway, good evening to you. It's kind of funny because I threw up a poll on Twitter. Because things move pretty fast, you know. Things tend to move with a fair degree of alacrity on the Twitter side of the house. And so I got you, Clanner Jake. Well, I mean, it boosts over here. It actually boosts my numbers more over here. If everybody who followed me on Twitter came and subscribed to me on YouTube, if they weren't already, I would wake up tomorrow with 10,000 subs. More than 10,000. I'd be like over 12,000. But I think the Venn diagram overlap is pretty deep. I think there's a very narrow range of people under the follows me on Twitter, but does not also subscribe to me on YouTube. So, yeah. Jerry Thompson, the lone X guy, lone man of the X, Racer X over there. But anyway, Jake Cook out at North Texas. How are you, Jake Cook? Good to see you. Need some calming game talk. I will try and bring the calming game talk. Cemeteries is a great band. The album Barrow. Let's see. So, yeah. I threw up a poll about a half an hour ago on Twitter, and I said, hey, late night streamer, no. I figured, like, people liked me well enough that they would want to see a late night stream, that I'd get, like, you know, some no's, but then the responses would be go to sleep, take the night to yourself. I said, it was barely a majority. It was the majority of yeses. I would have had to have filibustered if this was Congress deciding on something. That's how narrow the margin was. Jerry, we already do that on Wednesday nights, actually. Jerry asking, why not have someone run a game on the channel, but with me as a character? Kyle does that on Wednesdays. I've played in Traveler, I've played in Conflict, and now we're playing his kind of mashup hybrid basic expert first edition AD&D. So anyway, Rabbit Wrangler says can't stay high, wanted to get the punch on the card. That's absolutely fine. It still counts, my friend. 19 more and you get free admission to your 21st show. 22 J22K5J. Hello. How do you change your scene name on YouTube and want to change it to like and subscribe so I get mentioned in every stream? That would probably trip some kind of alarm. Hey, Alan Canning, good to see you. So anyway, I actually did something today that I think people really finally appreciated. I talked on Twitter about my feelings vis-a-vis psionics on the count of I wanted to. So I did do that. I talked about psionics. And it's I didn't like I'm not trying to drive you guys over there like, hey, go read my post. Quite the opposite. It was everything that I've said. I gave a little history of psionics. It started in Eldritch Wizardry and then on into AD&D. It is not in any flavor of basic Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know what they did with it in 2E, and I don't care. I know there was a Psionic's handbook in 3E. Don't know what it was. Don't know what the rules are like. Again, don't care. Or with 4, or with 5, or with Pathfinder, if they even put it in Pathfinder. I know it's not in Osric. But no, I said, hey, it's in first edition, it's in OD&D, here's how it works. And my biggest gripes with it are, of course, as I've said before, you guys know it. If you've been here, you know it. I don't like the fact that you got to stop combat and run a whole separate psionic battle. And I don't like the fact that cell adjustment is pretty. If you get the discipline cell adjustment, that's pretty much the I win button. Even if you've only got like the bare minimum of psionic points, which I think is 101 or 102, you're basically just running around the dungeon. And I mean running around the dungeon, just zap, 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 just healing characters constantly. People bitch about the cleric being a heal bot. I don't want to play a cleric. I don't want to be the heal bot. No, baby. No. Run an AD&D psionicist who has cell adjustment, and you will find out what being a heal bot really means. So cell adjustment isn't quite so bad if it wasn't for points recovery. You can be doing burpees. You can be doing like those Chinese, like those weird Japanese or Chinese pull-ups where you got a bucket of water by your head when you're hanging upside down, and like a tablespoon, and then you got a dry bucket hanging by your feet from where you're hanging up, and you bend down, you get a tablespoon, and you slowly bend up and put it in, and then when the bucket gets done, you're done with your like vertical crunches. You can even be doing those and be regaining psionic points. I think psionic points ought to be basically you got this many in a 24-hour period, then you have to sleep for at least 8 hours before they'll come back. Just like spells. Now, there are hardwired uh, mediators for psionics. First of all, is if you're playing with psionics and somebody uses the psionics table, there's a 1 in 24 chance. Okay, a 1 in 24 chance that you will have a psionic encounter if you're using psionic powers, whether it's an attack mode once, defense mode up all the time, or one of, I think, 30 spells. That's a bunch of spells that are like psionic spells. Basically, any mind spell, but dig this, any heal spell, any cure spell, cure light wounds, cure disease, cure serious wounds, whatever. And you could have Asmodeus, Demogorgon, glass if you're lucky, show up ready to do something about you. Or, a mind flayer, intellect devourer, thought eater, cerebral parasite, anything like that. So you start slinging those out there, even if you're not using them. If the party is using, or the dungeon master rather, is using psionic abilities, even if nobody has them, you could trigger a psionic encounter. So there's a little bit of counterbalance to it. Okay, little bit of counterbalance in that you do have some stuff that can happen. But I think the way to fix psionics, stick psionic combat in regular combat. Now, psionicist versus psionicist, they go on the same segment. It doesn't matter which segment it is, winner's segment, loser's segment. But they go on the same segment. Everything they do takes one segment. Sue monsters don't have psionic blast. I don't think. Do they, you know what? That's a fine question. It's like yellow mold, if it's big enough, becomes intelligent and gets psionics, but it gets id insinuation, which is not like the only thing that affects non-psionics is psionic blast of the attack modes. Sue monster. All right. So let's see. If I'm wrong about this, I apologize. I'll go peacefully, happily. I'll like it. All right. Attack defense modes. Okay. So there is a chance there's basically a 1 in 3 chance, that is a 2 to 4 on a d6, that they have psionic blast. So there's 33% chance that the Sue monster could in fact hit you with sonic blast. But they could only do it once. And that's if psionic ability is used within 12 inches, 120 feet underground, 120 yards above ground. Now, dig this, though. Psionic defense is not necessary, as a Sue monster itself is not subject to psionic attack. Nasty little bugger. Number appearing. You want to see the Sue monster stats? Yes. Let me put that up on screen. It's right next to one of my favorite underutilized D&D monsters, right next to the Sylph. I like good role play monsters. All right, so there are the Sue monster stats. So here's what we got: 5+5 hit dice, 2 attacks, claw, bite. Number appearing 1 to 12. Imagine 12 of those bastards, and you got somebody throwing around psionic attacks. Now, interesting, look at their alignment. It's just listed as chaotic. This is either a vestige of a time when the alignments were law, chaos, neutrality, or it is a typo and it was supposed to be chaotic with neutral and parens, because as the monster manual was being written, there was there was only lawful good, chaotic good, true neutral, lawful evil, chaotic evil. Lawful neutral, chaotic neutral, neutral good, and neutral evil had not been considered yet. So the Sue monster is either intended to be chaotic neutral, or it's some form of evil, and Gary just didn't go back and edit it. Someone said Sue monster, Soviet Union. No, I think it means Sukhoi monster. If you know your Russian and Soviet era aircraft design bureaus. The average intelligence, shouldn't there be chaotic good, chaotic neutral, and chaotic evil Sue monsters? Given how they are, I tend to lean that they are either supposed to have been chaotic neutral or chaotic evil, not chaotic good. I just don't find them, like, I don't get the intent that they were meant to be friendly. Susudio monster, I like that. That's a good one, North. Five attacks, so that segment's 1, 3, 6. No. That's not 5 attacks. Oh wait, yes, that is 5 attacks. I'm sorry. I thought it was claw, claw, bite. It's claw, 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 bite. Those are basic. It's my understanding that if they were intended for separate segments, it would be 1 comma 1 comma 1 comma 1, or it would be like 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 and then 1. So you'd get claw 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 bite all happening in separate segments. In this, because it's not broken out like that, it's all in one. It's all in the same segment. 4 claws and a bite. That's a cat. I feel like cats are in Monster Manual 2 somewhere. It's more than 2 sonic blasts that get multiple targets, wiping it off the park. Yeah, these are not to be screwed with. These are not to be screwed with. As far as I'm aware, they only actually show up in one AD&D module, and it is they're in a they is it in Temple of Elemental Evil in one of the temple leaders' laboratories? I remember distinctly the description being that it was that the person in question probability traveled to a time where the Sioux monster was non-psionic, and then they captured and brought it back to study it. It's very strange. It's very, very strange. Yes, the house cat is in Monster Manual 2. It's nowhere nearly as dangerous as the Sioux monster in terms of attack. I think it's like 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2. Basically 4 claw attacks for 1 to 2 each, and a bite for like 1 to 3 or something. So it's considerably less dangerous than the Sioux monster on the overall. But the point of all of this is not oh, and here's the mention. Oh, that's squid. I really came out of let's see. Yeah, Sioux monsters have a latent psionic ability, which enables them to deliver some form of psionic attack once per day if psionic activity is being used within 12 inches of them, determined by rolling a 6-sided die. Psychic Crush, Psionic Blast, Mind Thrust. Sonic defense is not necessary, as the Sioux monster itself is not subject to psionic attack. And then we get a physical description of it. So that is the Sioux monster. That is it. That's the creature in question. But anyway, so yeah, I held forth on it, and I think people liked it. I think people dug on it. Seemed to be a well-considered discussion we had. I was just trying to. Excuse me. I'm sorry, guys. It's late. And I've actually been getting to sleep at decent hours lately. I did go to sleep at midnight last night, which I know for a lot of people it's like that's crazy late. But understand, there are some nights when I sit up to like 4:15. It's not good for me. It's wearing holes in my amygdala. It's really bad for me. So, yeah, last night I did go to bed at 12 as I had the night before. I just I just went to bed back here in the studio. I say went to bed. I fell asleep. Basically, I leaned my chair back. I put on a YouTube video knowing I was going to fall asleep. I was like, I'm going to end up falling asleep to this. Listen to this guy talk about AI procedurally generated Doom gameplay. I'm just going to, boop, and I did. And I woke up and it was 2:15 and I staggered back to the bedroom and I went to sleep. So I consider that going to bed at a decent hour. So I'm kind of tired right now. Chris Kane, thank you for stopping by. Hey, Wheeling Dragon, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, Nordic, you're right. Ugh. Yeah, I do, Robert. I say I'm on 5 nights a week, and I'm 5 nights a week. So anyhow, what else? Oh, okay. So I'm gonna go into this in more detail at the right time. But I wanted to talk to you guys about this. Um, in uh in December, like all other months, is 4 weeks long. Um, in December, every week in December, one random day in the week, I'm going to do a live stream. Now, come December, there's going to be a lot less live streaming from me. I will do, if Mrs. the Dungeon Delver decides to get me a dice advent calendar or any kind of fun hobby advent, the first advent calendar and the second advent calendar, I should say, we ever did on the show was a Star Wars minifigs, Lego minifigs advent calendar. And then the next couple of years, we have done the Dudragao dice advent calendars, and those have been a lot of fun. So I'll do the advent calendars every day, and Mrs. the Dungeon Delver and I will probably do a Christmas night live stream. But I'm not going to announce the days. You're just going to have to tune in when you see me live. And every week in December, I'm going to do a drawing. All you people in the audience, at the end of the stream, I don't know if I'll roll a die. I don't know if I'll do a spinner. Because, Google's got a little spinner. I could put your names in. Maybe Mrs. the Dungeon Delver will help me do that live. And every week, once a week in December, I'm going to pick a prize winner, and that person gets a Christmas present. It's not going to be, a gift card for something on drive-through that, oh, here's your PDF, download and print, enjoy. An actual cool thing, physical thing that I will mail to you and you will get. Tail End Charlie, the week of Christmas, unfortunately, you might get yours a little late. But the others, I will send out to you. Have already picked out 2 of the gifts, and they're pretty damn cool. They're pretty damn cool. So you're going to get that. It's not going to be stuff that I 3D printed. It's not going to be dice or a dice tray. It's not going to be show merch. So you tune in, we draw a name, I send it to you. Not going to be like artisanal computers or whatever that company was. I'm like, ooh, you don't have enough follows. Time for that re-roll. Nothing like that. So if you're here, if you're just a new subscriber, if you've been here from day one, you will get a gift. And I have 2 of them already, and they're very cool things. And after the drawing, I don't know if I'll do it after or before. Because it's a Christmas present, you know. What do you guys think? Should I tell you beforehand what I'm rolling for or spinning for that week that live stream? Or do you just want, here it is wrapped up in Christmas paper? Don't tell. Surprise is part of it. Well, who am I to argue with the padre? Total surprise. Everybody is saying surprise. 33K7. Yo! What's up? And I hope that you will like it. That whoever gets it will like it. I'm gonna hype this up a lot. I'm gonna hype it up a lot. Well, I mean, Clan or Jake, I may have more than 20 people. You know, I may have less than 20 people. What am I hyping Gonzalo Lira's bar tab? Um, if you just stepped in, if you just joined us in December, once a week for each week of December, I will do a live stream one time every week in December. And we'll rejoin normal at the end of the year. But on that live stream, I'm not telling you what day or what time I'm doing it. I will announce it a couple of hours out on socials. You'll just have to stay tuned. And then I shall roll the die or spin the wheel. And the winner, the person that is selected, will receive a gift from me. Something real and tangible. Maybe it's D&D related, maybe it's not, but it's going to be cool. It's going to have some nostalgia coolness to it. I can tell you that much. Because we believe in old school cool around here, and it's going to be old school cool. So I hope that people will want to tune in to see that, to potentially get a gift, you know, because it's part of, it's part and parcel, right? Even a letter would be all. I'll send you a letter anyway, Wheeling Dragon. Whether you win or not, I'll send you a letter if you'd like it. I'll send you an A. How about that? Not a scarlet A. Thank you, 33K7, Sue Monsters in Temple Elemental Evil, page 71. I knew there was one in there. In fact, just today in the mail, I got one of the gifts that I'm going to send out. Actually, no, it came yesterday. I'm looking at one of them right now. It's over there. Not over there. Like my finger was not pointing to like, I'm not sending anybody the Robotech RPG Tactics thing. And I'm not pointing at my shelf of shame. I'm pointing at a shelf that's over yonder. So I got some coolness going on. I got let's see. Next weekend, next Saturday. I'm leaning in on Saturday. Heidi Gygax Garland and Eric Garland, the Gaxland folks. And I know you're probably sitting there thinking, saying, oh, they're going to be on the show. Well, you're wrong. Well, maybe a little bit wrong. James wants a. You want that signed copy of Me Have Stick, don't you? Is Me Have Stick? That is an unauthorized third party expansion. Me Has Stick. Don't buy that. I did not approve of that. But no, next weekend, not like tomorrow or Saturday, but next weekend, a week from Saturday, Heidi Gygax Garland and Eric Garland will be here in town. Me and Mrs. the Dungeon Delver are going to go out and hang out with them. Now, I want to be very cool because it's their vacation, but if we do like, just like a 5-minute hello stream, that may happen. And what else is happening? Oh, yeah. So Paul Stormberg will be back very soon. He will be back to the show. I'm hyped about that. So I'm looking forward to seeing Paul, because he's going to be talking about the Kickstarter that will hopefully cover the many tens of thousands of dollars. And you guys remember he was he was on the show talking about what that's going to cost. And I really encourage you guys to play and participate in that. For the big Gygax gaming table there in Lake Geneva. So that talking about the Kickstarter, kicking off the fundraisers for that, he'll be here on the show, but he will be in town like the last week of December, first week of January. Maybe I can go visit him and convince him, we'll live stream. So going into 2025, it's going to be a very cool, exciting time. I'm heading up to Loch Geneva. I'm heading up there to EggCon in the summer, in the city. So I'm hyped as hell about that. Michael Dale wants Rob back on. The next time I have Rob back on, I'm gonna do it at like in the morning on a Saturday. because good Lord, asking him to be up at 3 in the morning. Robert Turner got it. Oh, Manfred Mann there. Manfred Mann. Man. Summer in the city. Man. Dungeon Minister out there getting ready to make Clericon 2 happen, which is a very, very hype thing. I would love to do a real con, but I'm not doing it till I hit 10,000. Oh, Robert Turner's 50. Huh. You kids, to be 50 again, let me tell you what. The Clericon will not be televised. Orbital Air. I don't know. No, when I hit 10,000 subs on YouTube, we'll have the GUAC, the Great Underground Overland Gaming Convention. So I'm hyped about that. Will the revolution be televised? Probably. Hey, Savo, when I'm in Geneva, can I take serrated bayonets taken out of the convention you have plans? That is terrifying. And now I need cheesecake art of Feifel with a serrated bayonet. You know what to do. Whoa, Dungeon Minister serving homebrew. Get me a glass of that. So I have to say, it's been almost 20 years, but my father-in-law got a home brew brewing kit. Remember when those were a big thing? Like some malls had specialized stores where you could go and buy stuff like additives for your beer and the equipment for it. That was popular for like 5 minutes. Um, and for like an entire summer, he did like a homebrew lager, and it was out of this world. It was so fresh and light and crisp. It was one of those rare beers that didn't taste like complete ass, but that you wanted to drink on a hot day. It was like thirst quenching, right? Like, I wouldn't recommend it like if you're going to hike across a desert, but it was thirst quenching. It was really good. And then he just stopped. He never did it again. We were looking for something in their garage, and there was like the box for the kit. You could see it's like, oh yeah, it was really good. But oh hey, Dungeon Minister, for Claricon, do you still want me to do trivia? I know I got to make it easier. Personally, I think my trivia was just fine. You know, we ran the questions here on the show. Everybody got them. But let me know if you want some more. All right, I'll do it. Nice and generalized first edition AD&D. I won't go hard in the paint on the Greyhawk stuff. Clanner Jake says true genius is to do something epic and it fades into myth immediately. Yeah. Daniel Rowan wants a trivia to be obscure and esoteric. Go with Athos history. Okay, I can do one trivia question about that. What is the only setting where Thri-kreen fit? Athos. That's it. That's it. You know. The answer is Kryn. Raven Lance. Dragonhawk. Eberson. Bloodlance. Mystara Realms. Al Kamaztika. Someone was it? Karu Shimizu Birthright. Yeah, that, you know what? There was one guy on Dragon's Foot who, like, he carried a torch for Birthright. I mean, he was like yeah, they are doing Greyhawk. Oh, I think homebrew Euro stuff. And like, he would just, right into a discussion. You guys ever consider Birthright? It's going to slide it across the table at us in a virtual sense. Yeah, I can't do Dragonlance, though. I find it setting to be cringe. Get it? Cringe. What do you people know from funny? Oh, okay. Orbital Air says, will WotC mess up the great Greyhawk in 2024 DMG? Probably. Probably they will. I would say so this is this is my my ugly black-hearted feeling. Michael Connor, I ran right out and ignored Birthright. So here's what I think about the coming Greyhawk. The current crowd at Wizards of the Coast has been knives out for Gary Gygax for a long time, because they're of the opinion that Gary was a divisive person, that he was non-inclusive, that he was a sexist and a racist and a homophobe. None of those things are true. None of them are true. They are demonstrably not true. There has been a tendency in pop culture media in the past 15 to 16 years to go back as far as possible and year zero things, and then tell problematic fans like me, sorry, Chud, Not only is this the way it is now, we've gone back and made it so it's always been this way. Now, when I'm gone, when the dementia kicks into high gear, or I drop from a heart attack or whatever, and that happens more and more, they'll be able to make up whatever history about classic D&D and classic D&D settings they want. Well, that was really more Matt Groening, who liked Gary's stuff. Karu. Am I saying that right? By the way, Karu. I'm not even going to try Shimizu. Um, and every time I see that episode of Futurama, I always smile because I think to myself, I know him. I used to hang around with him. Um, and they'll craft a narrative that Drow have always been like golden or light purple or whatever. They were never obsidian. Um, that you know that things have been this way that conforms to current year politics and attitudes in this section of Greyhawk and yada yada yada, and they'll make IUs look like Donald Trump and just whatever else they're going to do. They'll year zero it and they'll say, we own the IP and we've changed it so it's like this. So there's an iconic Captain America image of him punching the Austrian painter, the little armband enthusiast, the Charlie Chaplin mustache guy. And some writer of current year Marvel decided they wanted their character to go back and do it. To literally steal that away from Captain America. To steal that moment from Captain America and from Captain America fans. So, kapow. She shows up and punches. And because it happened that way, in the current year, Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, everybody else was talking about, oh, yeah, I remember it. That's how it happened. There you go. Watch this. I'm about to piss James Seymour off. I really don't like Mark Felton. I don't. I do not. He started grating on me a few years ago with the nature and tone of some of his videos. And the straw that broke the camel's back was, you know, I believe it was this. I mean, like, of all the things to make a 30-minute video on, why the Lancaster should have been used to deliver the weapons to Hiroshima and Nagasaki was one of the. They weren't high altitude bombers. They couldn't operate in the same regime as the B-29 as far as a backup bomber, because the B-29 actually did kind of suck. We had the B-50, the Devastator. We actually built a few hundred of those just in case the B-29 was too bad. Like that was the one that broke the camel. There were a couple of videos before then when he was very tonally looked down the nose at the United States and its participation in World War II. And I was like, okay, I get it. You're British. You think that you guys were doing everything. And then the United States just showed up and started bombing the wrong targets. And, we should have just been shipping pig iron so Britain could build Valentine tanks and win the war single-handedly, yada, yada, yada. But there were just a couple of videos, and between the two of them, so yeah, I just kind of his contention was they could have taken the doors off. Yeah. A lank lumbering along at maybe 19,000 feet. That would have been a one-way mission. It literally would have been, right, lads, arm the bomb and we'll just we'll just trigger it when we get over the target. Anyway, I don't want to get off on that. Okay, James. All right. You feel me. Funny thing about that B-52 re-engining with Rolls-Royce, that has been kicked around since the 1990s, which is crazy. Like, at first, they were going to do big, giant turbofans, like 4 engines instead of 8. And then it got caught up in Congress because, we can't have our iconic bomber with Rolls-Royce engines in it. Okay, we won't do that. We'll do it with TF whatever's from GE. And then they said, well, you know what? The flight instrumentation for these things and fuel and center of gravity and yada, yada, yada. It's set up for engines and pods and pairs and blah, blah, blah. So we just won't do it at all. Besides, we're going to be building so many B2s, it's going to be out to pasture anyway. We'll see you, Robert Turner. Take care. 33K7 over on Twitter was like, I'm not a fan of the Thrycrane. They're one of those things that's a little too science fiction. Oh, Doc Flamingo, thank you for the super. Clearly, a giant slingshot would have been the ideal delivery system for the A-bomb. A very smart coyote once explained it to me. Exactly. Yeah, 33K7. I'm not gonna sweat it, until or unless they shut off the PDFs on Drive-Thru RPG, which, I mean, you can get every scrap of first edition AD&D, if not print on demand, then PDF copies of that you can then send to Lulu and get printed, or to some other printer and get printed. All I'm pulling for at this point, the last thing I want, the last battle that I'm fighting is, oh, hey, Rabbit. The last thing that I'm fighting is from Wizards of the Coast is I want first edition advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I'd love to see original. all the flavors of basic. And yes, second edition AD&D for you second edition fans. Please don't at me. Please don't tell me how much cleaner and easier it is. I don't want to hear it. But if you're a fan of 2E, yes, even 2E, all that put under Creative Commons. All of it put under Creative Commons. So we can, you can go out there and you can develop. Clanner says a mini nuke launcher. It's called the Fad Man. But yeah, I mean, they superficially resemble a Piat anyway, which is personal infantry anti-tank, which is a basically it's a man-portable, mostly horizontally fired spigot mortar that a big hollow charge round. Yes, Alan, that is exactly it. I would start publishing first edition AD&D. Even if they said, okay, if you want to stick AD&D on it, you got to scrape us off some. Guys, I already have to give 30% of my money that I make on you. That $5, for example. I'm not complaining about it. But Doc Flamingo's $5. $1.30 of that goes to, or I'm sorry, $1.50. I know how to math real good. $1.50 of that is going to YouTube. That is what it is. If they said the same thing, ouch, Doc Flamingo. I'm going to put that up there for a second. But everybody remember, Doc Flamingo said this: don't throw tomatoes at me. 2E isn't Creative Commons, it's dumpster diving. But the point remains, if I woke up tomorrow did I lose my did I lose connection to my Twitter stream? Says that there's 0 viewers. Like, is nobody now watching on Twitter? Yikes. Oh no, there it's back. Wow, okay. Had a panic attack there for a second. But all the Hero System 5. Oh, Michael, you're gonna have to build a expansion to your house for that. No, you guys don't have to move. It just reset, guys. It's reset. It's fine. It's fine. Got my Twitter crowd, my YouTube crowd. We're all good. Impossible. But yeah, if they said, yeah, you can write and publish stuff that says Advanced Dungeons and Dragons or First Edition AD&D or Original D&D and put it for those rules, just 30% to us. I'd be like, okay, sure, here you go. 70 cents to me, 30 cents to you. $70 to me, $30 to you. $700 to me, $300 to you. I'd be okay with it. Help me help you make money with what you've got, Wizards of the Coast. It's that simple. And as far as, well, we got to divest stuff, go talk to Stuart. Go talk to Matt. They already created open source implementations of AD&D that don't have Bigby and Melf and Tensor and Certain and Nystal and Heward and Quailish and on and on and on and on. Osric is right there free for they could take Osric, use it as their blueprint, and say bada bing, bada boom, bada boom. Congratulations. It's in the Creative Commons. If they will just do that, they've got to realize they're making money on this. I'll tell you guys a story. They actually used to publish their sales figures. They used to say what was selling most. And if I live to be 100 years old, I will never not think this is funny. One of the most insipid, needling, annoying cats on EN World and on Dragon's Foot insisted that it was of no consequence back in 2003 when Wizards of the Coast got rolling with their PDFs, not even physical copies print on demand, guys, with their PDFs of first edition AD&D. They were the top selling items at Wizards of the Coast's own website. The Dungeon Master's Guide outsold any physical third edition stuff, and they only sold it as a PDF. Then when they released the Monster Manual, same thing. Player's Handbook, same thing. Unearthed Arcana, Monster Manual 2, Fiend Folio, and then they started releasing all the modules, and they were regularly outselling the physical third edition books. And I argued with this guy saying, there's the proof AD&D is still popular. It is still hugely popular. It is still worth developing. It's not significant, this guy would say. And, I'm not calling him out. I'll tell you who it is if you guys are interested. I mean, I'm talking about an argument that went on 20 years ago, so it's hardly relevant. But I can't imagine that they wouldn't have bothered with keeping AD&D alive and paying the money for the scans if they didn't think it was worth it. It's making the money somehow. Why not make more? Put it in Creative Commons. Put it in Creative Commons. Make it so I can publish a module and make some money on that module. And make them some money on that module. Imagine actually being the company that they claim to be. Yeah, we're hearing you, RPG Grandma. We see you just fine. Yeah, I lost all my messages over on Twitter live chat. That sucks. I hit refresh. I got back all my viewers and I lost all my messages from 33K7 from everybody that was posting over there. It's a dang shame. So speaking of the thing that came up in the news, something came up today. And I had this kind of made it kind of made me sad to have to discuss this, but I did anyway. I did discuss it anyway. By the way, I'm done at the top of the hour, guys. So get your questions and super chats ready. So somebody shared a news site reporting that Rings of Power would probably be canceled because of its poor ratings. And I watch guys like Olson says Watsy has no interest. Yeah, we do. Well, I'll tell you. Nope, Jake, it was not Umbran. It was not Umbran. Although he would defend people who got their backs up about third edition over anybody who got their backs up about AD&D first edition. Umbran was very much a I will back anybody that pisses off the grognards guy. I have a lot of foil hat thinking about that. Hey, Gonzalo, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome, Gonzalo. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I got some foil hat stuff about that, Kaoru, but I'm not going to go into it right now. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the Rings of Power thing because this came up. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna do a thing here. I'm gonna go find it. Bear with me a second. I gotta. Come on. All right. So here's the first link. Here is the first link. Oh, those are lovely. Thank you for sharing that link, that picture. All right. Wheeling Dragon just sent me a picture of the new dice set she's working on. All right. Amazon's Rings of Power series could be canceled, and that's in quotes. So it must be true, right? Due to poor viewership. This is by Harry Warner. This is on joe.co.uk. And wouldn't we love to see this? I did. I saw those, Wheeling. Wouldn't we love to see this? So let's get to the meat of it. Talks about how polarizing it is, et cetera, et cetera. But we come to this. We come to his first link. Deadline, which is another media website, reported that according to Samba TV, who tracks streaming numbers, there's been a massive decline in viewership from season 1 to season 2, and Samba says it's down to 902,000 from 1.2 million last year. And then he cites The Hollywood Reporter confirming that only 37% of viewers who started the first season never made it to the end, which ultimately is an indictment of the show's inevitable failure. And then says, with the numbers not looking promising for the studio, a decision will have to be made soon whether Amazon will want to commit to the show and try to turn the ship around or dispose of it in a Mount Doom to end the show once and for all. Okay, first of all, a decision will have to be made soon. I mean, based on his observations, based on this reporter's observation, and I want to make it 100% clear. I hate this. I hate this show. What it has done to Tolkien's work is abominable. This show is the work of the servants of Morgoth. Let's just be entirely clear. Um, the decision about what to do with this show was made when Amazon said they had budgeted 5 seasons of it. That they're gonna press on with 5 seasons of it. But let's continue on. Okay. So they mentioned an article from like a year and change ago that talks about how the end of the show only retained 37% of its viewers. They discussed the source, a THR article that sources Samba, a streaming rating show. They make the conclusion that based on those two factors, the show might get canceled. But here's the thing. First of all, let's look here. Come on, open up. This is from Variety. This is VIP, so this is on archive.org. Streaming viewership data shows steep drop off after top originals. Okay. Every show, if you read this article, it shows that every show drops off. It's not just Rings of Power. It isn't just Rings of Power. So let's continue. And the point I bring up is this show is Jeff Bezos's pet project. He won't let it die, even if he has to spend money out of pocket for it. Rings of Power is budgeted for a 5-season run. That's money spent. So this is from Forbes. Here's how Jeff Bezos was involved in Amazon Prime's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. This is from August of last year. At the UK premiere on Tuesday of Amazon Prime's new video series, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos thanks showrunners and Patrick McKay and John D. for ignoring his input at exactly the right times. Pay $250 million to the estate, who is now Tolkien's great-grandson, who's a callow asshole. First season's show cost $465 million to make. He defended choosing relatively unknown showrunners to helm the series, calling it one of the best decisions we made. Now look at this. 152.9 billion is Bezos's net worth. That was a year ago. The dude could pay out of pocket to keep this going. I hate the Rings of Power, guys. All right. It just, it's terrible. But it's not going away, guys. All right. It's not going to get canceled. You know, I'm sorry. Don't listen to YouTubers who are telling you, you know, oh, somebody says it's going to get canceled. You know, how many times in the last 3 years have we heard Kathleen Kennedy is about to get fired for what she did to Star Wars? Or that they were going to bring back, they were going to retcon. We're going to use the veil of the Force and retcon out all the Star Wars stuff that we true Star Wars fans don't like. And they're going to bring back all the good old stuff. It's not happening. This show is not going away. All right. They're not going to be happy until they tear down Tolkien's legacy for another 3 seasons. So if you're going to hold your breath until this show goes away, I would definitely have somebody on hand to resuscitate you. I wish that wasn't true. I really wish it wasn't true. You could get a group of people who played a multi-years long session of Iron Crown Enterprises Middle Earth role-playing, get their campaign notes together and get a better show than this. I mean, I was worried when I heard about this show. I was appalled when I heard that they fired the Tolkien scholar working on it. I was mortified when I heard that they brought in an intimacy coach whose previous work included actual porno movies. And the defense from people about this show. Well, Bill, they don't have access to the Silmarillion or the Lord of the Rings. They can only use certain stuff. Then they shouldn't have done it. It's like you paying me $2,000 to build you a gaming rig. And I bring you, a Celeron D built into a cardboard box with, a half gig OEM Radeon card and a clicky mechanical hard drive that's on its way out running Windows XP. I only had access to these parts. Why are you mad at me? So MERP's a mess campaign. I'm sorry, it is. It is, and so is Rollmaster. Those games are 20 minutes of fun crammed into 5 hours. Sorry, they just are. I know, Karu. I know. If you want a good system to use for MERP, use Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition. Ditch chaos, or just ditch the setting in general, but keep all the mechanics. It's snappier, it's easier to use. You can actually resolve a combat fairly quickly in it. Yeah, I'm sorry, Campaigns and Conquest. Dude, it's MERP is terrible. Where 3 orcs can TP? No, where you can wind up with your sword, clip your own ear off, stab yourself in the stomach, and lie there bleeding while the orcs just kind of stare at you. Now, if I was going to run a Middle Earth campaign, and I have, by the way, done this, I would use Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. There are a few careers I would probably not use. A few adventuring careers I would not use. Guns would be out, so like artillerist and that sort of thing. And then obviously I'd set it in. I would set it in Middle Earth, not in the old world. jettison quite a few monsters. Good night, Michael. But yeah, I would not hang on to that. We're over 200 people watching right now. That is awesome. Thank you. I think we're pulling better numbers than Rings of Power. Well, I guess so. I wanted to really talking about the Rings of Power thing was not just to depress and anger myself. You finally did the AD&D slot machine. Oh, that's very cool, Grognar. Best source for cheap miniatures when you don't have a 3D printer. Um, Ironically, as much as I was just bitching about them, Amazon. Amazon sell bags of, basically they're the equivalent of plastic soldiers, but they're fantasy. Let's see. Let's just do this. Right here. This is, I'll throw this link up in chat. And I will share this. Kind of meant to do this and not give you guys a view into my 98-piece fantasy, 132 scale monster fantasy creature figure minifigure playset. But there you go. Knights, wizards, dwarves, dragons, two-headed monsters, all kinds of stuff, guys. 24 bucks, 98 pieces. And they're good to practice painting on. Well, they're not great to practice painting on, but getting things down like base coating and so on. But honestly, there you go. Look, there's a little fairy right in the front. Right in the front center of the box. You get fairies with it. How cool is that? So yeah, just search for something like that on Amazon. Anyway, the last thing I did just want to say about the Lord of the Rings thing, I just applied some things that the YouTuber and OSINT guy Ryan Macbeth did. I went and I just started digging backwards into the sources, and I don't think it was done maliciously, but I think it was kind of fake news. And that's what I wanted to say. And that's all else I'm going to say there. What do we got here? This is Dragon Toys. 6 different dragons, and there's 24. So you get like all these dragons. Path Gaming, 20 unique fantasy tabletop miniatures. There's 56 fantasy miniatures, all unique designs, 1 hex size compatible. Hey, Alan Canning, thank you for the super sticker. Road March 36, good to see you. They have plastic monster flats. What is this? Oh, this is expensive as hell. Though there's 167, but it's 79 bucks. They're like plastic flats. There's 24 for $14.99. D&D enemies, 25. Huge bookish dragon. Dragon reading a spell book. 28 painted for $19.99. Yeah, guys, there's just oodles and oodles and oodles and oodles of plastic minis available on Amazon that you can just slap out there on the table. Oh, that's cool, RPG Grandma. You should do it like a video and share them up today or tomorrow or whenever you want to. $60 pieces for $16.99. What's this? It's Dungeon Craft. Oh, that's just one mini. But that's what I would do, you know? Like if I just wanted a bunch of stuff where I was like, I don't care. Like I'm going to a con. I don't want to spend my time 3D printing, and I certainly don't want to take my good minis to the con. I will slot paint these, throw them in a grocery bag so that I can open it and show the people at TSA, and then just be on my way. And if they get stolen or lost or whatever, so what? Are they true 20-minute? Yes, we will measure them from the eye to the big toe. That's what you could do. Yeah. It's kind of fun looking at these. Here's one. You get the bookish dragon and then fantasy monsters. How many is in here? It doesn't say, but it looks like a crap ton. A lady centaur there. I guess she might be an actual Lamia, then a Lamia noble. Mimic. Demon. Those all kind of repeat, but that's sort of cool. But you get the idea. What is a good protective sealer to use on your minis to protect your paint job? Okay, so James, I have found that Tester's dull coat kills all the lovely work you did on metallics. It says right in the thing. The last couple of times I use Reaper brush on sealer, it frosted the minis. But I was able to fix it. And you fix it with olive oil. You fix it with olive oil. So you thin and you bathe it. And then if you end up with frosted parts, you take a Q-tip, you dip it in a little olive oil, and you massage it into the paint. Or you massage it in, obviously, to your coating. You wipe off any excess. It's not going to smell rancid. It's not going to feel greasy. If you get a frosting, take a brush and brush it on and keep it in a 65-degree room and it will fix itself. But anyway, yeah, I wigged out when I painted a miniature that I did for a friend, and then I sealed it and it frosted. And I saw someone suggesting the olive oil trick. And I was like, at this point, what could it hurt? It's ruined if I don't try something. And I did it with the olive oil, and I sealed all of my Space Marines. Same thing. That is my Space Marines for Space Hulk over here. Had the same problem. Just came through and gave them a nice firm wipe down with some olive oil, and it fixed them right up. Again, it doesn't turn the colors. They don't smell rancid now. I don't know what too much more. I have heard the following. It's too hot. It's too cold. There's too much moisture in the air. There's not enough moisture in the air. You didn't mix it properly. You mixed it too long. It's too old. The brand new stuff changed the formula. You waited too long to put it on the miniature. You put it on the miniature before it was completely dry. No, these are Terminators, James. These are second edition Space Hulk Terminators. So, yeah, no, Beakies are awesome. This is the one single tiny solitary thing that I will give uh the people at Games Workshop is the last time I looked, somebody's probably about to pop in and say that's not the case, Bill. But the last time I looked, you did get variant heads with your Space Marine sprues. And one of the heads you could put on is a Beaky Marine. Plus, if you want to do Beakies, but you want to do modern stuff, just go on eBay and look for Beaky Space Marine head. And there you go. And you can do proper Beakies. I still, to this day, the Chevy face Space Marines just look dumb to me. The big Edsel intake. And it's been that way since second edition. It's not new. It's literally 30 years old. And yet to me, it's new. I'm the same way about Star Trek. People are like, yeah, I liked it when Picard said so and so and this such, and there are 4 lights at Tanagra. And then Cisco was the Messiah, and he stood up to Jim and the Hadar Lanauts or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it was a regiment of 20 for $24.99. Actually, it was a regiment of 20 for $19.99. When they jumped up to $24.99, everybody in my gaming group, all my gaming buddies, were pissed because guys were fixing to get into 40K in a big way, and the price of a regiment or a war band of orcs or a troop of harlequins or whatever, the price went up, and that was bonkers. But yeah, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, you gotta like it, man. You know, it's I love that." And I'm like, I don't like new Star Trek. I don't like new Star Trek at all. I like 1968 Star Trek. The animated series, in my opinion, is just an animated continuation of the 1968 Star Trek. It's just the same. And the movies that have that cast. That's it. I don't like new Star Trek. To me, new Star Trek is anything that's not them. And people are like, Bill, what you call the new Star Trek is almost 40 years old now. I'm like, shut up. I know that. I know new Star Trek is not new, but it's new to me. It's new compared to the original Star Trek. We are further from TNG than TNG was from TOS. I get that. I completely understand that. But man, do I not like it. And every show after The Next Generation has been objectively worse. Gilligan's Starship, V'ger, was, God, you want to talk about something? That show could, Spock would have solved that dilemma. Like, Captain, we can beam a photon torpedo over there with like a 3-second timer and then fly through the wormhole. Spock, beam the torpedo, you know? And that would, no, we're stuck in the Delta quadrant forever now. Don't even get me started on DS9. DS9 was just, Paramount just cut Jim Straczynski's throat. What else? Sorry, Nordic. Don't like DS9. Jim Straczynski. Okay, here's my pitch. Space station, interstellar meeting place for all these races that could be at war with each other, but it's kind of a neutral ground. Conveniently, there's a gateway to go to other places of the galaxy. Nah, we'll pass on that. But wait, you haven't heard the best part. The captain of the space station becomes Space Jesus. I don't know. That sounds a little esoteric for us. Star Trek's a little, Did everybody write that down? Is he gone? Okay, everybody write that down. Then we get DS9. Then you had STD. Enterprise. I wanted to love Enterprise. You know what killed Enterprise for me? I mean, aside from like the you know what, we're just straight up gonna have like 2 minutes of fetish video. Every time they go to a new planet, we're just gonna do fetish video because we have to rub the gel all over each other in this softly lit room. Yes, I love Babylon 5. Babylon 5 was one of my favorite sci-fi shows ever of all time. Oh no, Scott Bakula was awesome. So, and they did such a good job of writing it. They literally played it was all a holodeck fantasy card at the end. That was how much they trusted their writers. That was how well the show was doing. Bring in Riker and Troy. What a way to end your series. I mean, that would have been like bringing Werner Klemperer in, showing Babylon 5 as a film to Colonel Hochstetter. So you see, Colonel Hochstetter, this is what will happen if we allow the Allies to win. Think you are an idiot. That is literally, that's like the same level of bad writing. You know, or having BJ and Hawkeye like break the fourth wall and walk out and sit down with a camera crew. Like, well, it was a fun run for 10 years. I love it. How about you, Mike? Well, it was pretty good, you know. The German Tiger tank from the second episode. I don't. Yeah, we're gonna Jack Photon. We're gonna do that. We need to do that. We're running out of time. We're running out of time for to do it this year. That is correct. Almost like half the cast of Hogan's Heroes were Jewish. Let me tell you guys what. I don't know what went down with John Banner, if he just let himself go. Go look at pictures of John Banner like during the Second World War when he was doing promo films for the War Department. My dude was dapper. Okay. John Banner had it going on. Oh, I love MASH. MASH was awesome. But no, you know, so after the new Treks, V'ger, Babylon 9, Up the Price, then, you know, they let it lay fallow for a while, and we got STD, we got Brave New Worlds, which I guess is still going on, and then, you know, Family Guy, Star Trek. That was a good idea. That's a fun idea. Nordic, I did like the 2004 Battlestar Galactica. I know that may seem heretical, but I don't like Star Trek: The Next Generation. What are you going to say? I like the fact that they had the non-Newtonian physics, or the Newtonian physics, going for flight. You know, they dared to say, hey, here's an aspirational sci-fi show, but things don't always go right. I mean, at the end of it, it was aspirational. But those people were under horrific stress all the time. Of course, people were breaking down mentally. You had the Cylons weren't helping. I liked it. I liked the original Battlestar Galactica. I did. I'm a little tired of seeing footage from Silent Running getting recycled. Oh, the launch sequence. We paid $750,000 for the launch sequence. We're going to use it as often as we can. I heard about the B5 reboot, and I so don't want it, but JMS absolutely wants to make it happen. I don't care either way about Stargate. Stargate was such an odd show. Like, the premise of the movie is really 90s action sci-fi blockbuster. That's one of those things that, like, you turn around and you're like, oh, they're making a Stargate TV show. Okay. It's going to be kind of the same thing, only a little bit more drawn out. Oh boy, we had Universe, we had like a couple of spin-offs here. Man, they went different ways with that. The Invaders are Space 1999. Space 1999. Space 1999 was good CRT punk. I think if they could have done it without the premise of the moon flying out of the solar system, if they had set it in the outer reaches of the solar system and then the planetoid they're on gets slingshotted out, that would just that one little tweak. I think it would have been, I think it would have been good. Like, the Eagles, there's not enough room and not enough fuel to make it back home before the supplies on the ship run out. So our little planetoid out here that's being slung out by, micro black hole tugging it or whatever, that's, I'm asking much of it. Gil Gerard. Oh yeah, Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Disco science fiction, like up to 11. I mean, that was just straight up like, hey Gil, we're gonna put you in a pantsuit, a white Elvis-like pantsuit, but you have a blaster gun and you're just gonna hang around with women in space bikinis, except for Colonel Deering. She's going to wear a skin tight Lycra number and carry a blaster on her hip. Yeah, I can see him having a real problem with that. Loving you, Buck Rogers, but not in this era. Maybe. Now, I will say this. I will pump the brakes and watch anything that Michael Ansara is in. Okay. This, like, I talk about my love of Babylon 5. I thought the techno mages were so grating. They were steampunk before steampunk, and I can't stand steampunk. Which I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to be like down like 200 subscribers. Then I'm going to cry and probably not stream anymore. But Michael Ansara, people talking about Gil Gerard was the gosh darn man. Michael Ansara was the gosh darn man. Hell yes, Michael Ansara. And he was in Buck Rogers. That voice. He had that voice. Hey, Jack, Michael Ansara was in at least one episode of the original series, wasn't he? So TD had it just like, whatever sci-fi show you need me on, I'm there. You had the great Bruce McGill. Bruce McGill played a starship captain in both DS9 and an Earth Force general who'd come over to the Alliance side in Babylon 5. Kang, that's right. He played Kang. Only a fool fights in a burning house. I can't do it, but you guys know the voice. Michael Ansara. He probably was a Klingon in DS9. I'm telling you, the guy was all over the place. Oh my God. Okay, so Alfred Bester, without a doubt. Alfred Bester, without a doubt. I loved to hate him. There was literally Nothing, nothing sympathetic. You never looked at him and said, but this, he was so vile. He was so utterly, irredeemably evil. And I loved every minute of it. He was great. Bester was such a great bad guy. He was probably the best bad guy on the show. Morden was nice, but he was fairly one-dimensional as a villain because he was an agent of the shadows, and we know it. But I mean, Bester was oily. He was lawful evil. The emphasis was on lawful, not on evil. But oh my god, it's like so many times it'd just be like, all you got to do is wait till he's walking to his ship. All you got to do is drop some bulkheads and vent that section. And no more Bester. No more Mr. Bester. No more Psychor breathing down your neck. Just, he's gone. We had a malfunction. This place took such a beating during the war. Sorry. Oh, dear God, did I hate Bester. And I loved him. I loved the character. I felt terrible for Londo. Londo broke your heart. Still, Londo's conscience was essentially Jakar. The Long Night of Londo Mollari is probably some of the best sci-fi TV until BSG came back. I couldn't speak out. I couldn't say anything. Even if you knew it wouldn't make any difference, you had an obligation. I'm not going to rob the late great Andreas Katsoulas by trying to repeat it with the same intensity he did. Go look up that sequence. I think it's on YouTube. You had an obligation to speak out. He just screams at him. Such an incredible scene. And yes, Londo was a tragic figure. And they start him out as like slapstick, like, oh, okay, the Centauri are going to be the goofy race. No. The Narn are going to be the evil conniving race. No. Man, JMS screwed with our heads with that show. Oh, I remember that RPG Grandma when they go to the ombudsman, and it's like a 300-year feud. Firefly. I just again gonna lose subs probably. Look, in the hands of another writer, I think Firefly could have been a wonderful show. I find Joss Whedon's writing to be goddamn insufferable. I don't like it. Good to see you, GPA. We'll catch you around, buddy. See you next week on AD&D Tuesday. It might have helped if Fox hadn't aired it out of order. There was stuff that I did like about the show. I mean, Adam Baldwin is good in just about anything. and the scene where he is they find the scrapped air ambulance, completely rebuild it, use the comatose shots on a couple of characters, and they make Jane memorize this incredibly technical explanation. They bring him in, they crashed. Okay, all right, take him to the morgue. And he is bound and determined to get the thing that they made him memorize said. We tried the neurostimulator and the defibrillator. Guy just looked up. Okay, take him to the morgue. They were non-responsive. He's so pissed off, and he's gonna get his say. And I love that little scene. That's a nice piece of character building. Like I said, kind of by and large, I found it. Some of it just seemed so like he told rather than showed a lot of stuff, and it just kind of it just kind of grated on me. Ren Milan says ran the Kentucky Brown. That's cool. That's cool. It's just not my cup of tea. Hey, Kabuki. Hello, darling. Hello. Good to see you. I don't hate it. I don't. It's like good. It only got one season. It deserved less. It just wasn't my thing. For my money, if we're talking about an ensemble sci-fi show, I think Farscape was far superior. I adored Farscape. That okay, Nordic. I'm not going to argue that point. We were just talking about B5 like 10 minutes ago, Kabuki. Which version of V is my preference? The original Mini. I didn't see the rebooted attempt. I just know it got canceled after like 5 episodes, so there's kind of no point. Same with the Bionic Woman reboot, if I'm being honest. Oh, your Pauper Knight's wife. You heard me mention Firefly. Loved Farscape. Loved Expanse. Oh, we are. It is actually tomorrow morning now. Diana Schwing. Well, welcome to the show, Ren Melon. I knew the Thunderbirds was on. I never had any interest in it. Space 1999 was the only Jerry Anderson production that I ever sat all the way through, and I had no idea that it was the same people that did what do you call it? Thunderbirds. I think I'm going to start watching Farscape again. Farscape is the bomb. Oh, that's cool, Viking. Take care, Christopher. Yes, they did UFO. I did not watch UFO. I didn't find out about UFO. Uh, MacGyver or the Wizard? The few times I watched MacGyver, I enjoyed it. Yeah, Babylon 5 actor. I mean, holy crap. So much of the cast is passed on. Jeff Conaway, Richard Biggs. It's easier to name who's still with us. Blake Seven was again one of those things that I found out like in the 90s. I found out about it, but never watched it. So yeah, Michael O'Hare, um, Richard Biggs, Andreas Kotzeles, Stephen First, Jerry Doyle, Jeff Conaway. Let's see. Maria Furlan played Delenn. So much of the original cast is gone. It's Yes, red shirts have a lower fatality rate than others. You can prove this just by watching the original series. And stormtroopers are actually fairly accurate. They were Ben comments on their accuracy. They shoot down most of the 30 X-wings and Y-wings that attack the Death Star. And last but not least, they absolutely kick the rebels' ass right off of Hoth. The reason Han, Luke, Leia, Chewie, R2, and 3PO escape the Death Star is because they were told not to shoot them down. They were told not to kill them. Remember when they cut their way into the tent of 4 at the beginning? And the Repel Boarders party at the boarding lock were cut down completely. We see like 2 guys running away and eventually the entire ship is taken. Don't come to me with this fucking stormtroopers are inaccurate nonsense. Lol, they can't hit. What if a stormtrooper shot at a red shirt? One always dies and one can never hit. Anyway. Jack Neller says, got the Lost Crit in the Necromancer Humble Bundle. Reading my forward was eye-opening. Great job on the module. Thank you, Jack Neller. That is very nice of you, sir. That is very, very nice of you. Thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. That makes me feel good, man. Thank you. I really like that. So here's my thoughts on immortality. Assuming for a second that we cannot plausibly break the you know get the math to get out of our solar system, there's a juncture at which you're going to wish you weren't immortal. And that's when the sun swells up into a red giant and swallows the earth, and you're like one of the last people on it. 93 years old. 93 years old. Yep. You know who's still with us and has had a fantastic run? That is, of course, the great Dick Van Dyke. He's 94, still with us. I think he's 94. '98. Good Lord. 98. Miniatures or theater of the mind? Miniatures for me. If I'm running miniatures. Yeah, Jimmy Carter, I'd heard that like he was like in hospice. He was like minute to minute. No, he's still there. Yeah, he was doing a little presser recently. He was he's just talking about his long life and everything, and how fortunate he was, and how much he loved his career over the years. And he kind of paused for a second, and he goes, "By the way, is anybody hiring?" I mean, that's pluck. You like that. 103. That's a heck of a run. And by any metric, my life is mostly over. I mean, even if I became a centurion, yes, our Australian province, we may allow some of them to vote, but only if it's done sensibly. Well, I think it's probably all that nuclear energy from his work in Navy, in nuclear, early Navy nuclear subs that killed off any harmful bacteria in his body. Kyle and I were talking about a World War II vet. This gentleman, he was a centurion. He's a World War II vet, and like his thing was smoked a couple of cigars daily, Pop Tarts for breakfast, uh, liked whiskey. Would drink a little flat, like half pint bottles of whiskey. Um, but Kyle and I figured he had become a lord. He cleared his hex. He advanced to the level where he, you know, claimed his landhold. James, no, most U.S. presidents have not been. Many have been. I think the last veteran president we had would have been uh, George H.W. Bush. Yeah, George H.W. Bush. Clinton certainly wasn't. No, I'm sorry, George W. Bush. He was in the ANG. He was an F-101 pilot for the ANG. Um, he was the last one. Reagan was, in the sense that he was uniformed. He had a rank. He had a commission, but he did not fight during the Second World War. Um, Carter, I don't think Carter was a World War II vet, but he was a military veteran. Ford absolutely was. Um, so is Nixon. I don't know about Johnson. Um, of course, uh, JFK was. Ike Eisenhower, I don't know if Truman was. I do believe that uh, Roosevelt was. I'm not sure if Harding was. Teddy Roosevelt was. So Truman was. Okay, Truman was. Yes, I heard about Mr. Harrell. Yes, he worked on naval reactors. Funny story. Um, the head of nuclear power for Navy submarines was an admiral named Hyman Rickover, and he was a tyrant. He was an absolute tyrant. Teddy Roosevelt is still enlisted and fighting in Syria or somewhere. Yeah, I want to believe that too. Um, but Teddy Roosevelt, no, I'm Teddy Roosevelt. Hyman Rickover was he was a ball breaker. Every officer who wanted a commission on a nuclear submarine had to pass their oral exam with him. Had to pass the exam with him. You went into his office, you sat in a chair, and he would ask you a battery of questions. Not like 4 or 5, not like 10 or 20. He would ask you a couple of 100 questions. If you needed to write down something to explain it, there was a chalkboard. So he goes in to take his final exam. Rickover asked him a question, and he said, he paused, didn't answer. Rickover said, "Well, I'm waiting." And he said, "Admiral, I don't know the answer, but if you'll give me a moment to think about it, then I am sure that I can work it out." Rickover said, "Fine." Got up, walked over to his closet in his office, opened the door, had Carter bring his chair over there. He said, "Sit in there and think about it," and closed the door. And so Carter sat there trying to think of the answer. Rickover went back to his paperwork, got up, went to lunch, came back, forgot about Carter, and continued to work till almost the end of the day. And went over and opened the closet. And Carter reportedly said, "I thought about it, and I think I have the answer, Admiral." He did get it. He did get his commission for nuclear. But, so I'm going to say this about W and about people's assessment of his intelligence. This is not politically related. It took a special breed of pilot to land to fly and land an F-100 Super Sabre. Those were notoriously difficult jet aircraft to fly. They were from an era when jet airplane companies, Boeing, Raytheon, well, those weren't really companies back then, were they? Martin Marietta, Grumman, Consolidated, Vultee. I thought I was done at top of the hour too, David Brown. I'm gonna jet here in just a few minutes. Bottom of the hour. How about that? Good night, Jimmy. I'm gonna be done soon. Yeah. Yeah, it was not like the FA-18EF is about 30 years old. About. I know someone who worked on the flight computers of that plane. You can grab two handles in the cockpit that are there just for this, set the throttles, and once they catapult you, the plane will take you where you need to go in the air. When you come back around for a landing on the carrier, you can line it up on the digital meatball and then do the same thing, and the plane will land itself. The computers are that smart. No, that's the EFA-18EF, James. I would never say that it's easy to fly a modern fighter jet of any mark. But let's just say that a bird that you don't have to touch the stick on takeoff from a carrier or landing on a carrier is pretty damn forgiving. The F-100, even though it was a land-based fighter, was not forgiving. Look up Saber Dance. F-100 Saber Dance. It was a dangerous gosh darn airplane to fly. It was a difficult to fly aircraft. All analog gauges. There weren't even Nixie tube gauges in it. W flew one. He got quals. He flew one. He never crashed. So there you go. I'm not speaking to anything else. Iran uses F-14s in the same way that we use F-4s in this country. We have like a tiny handful of them that for whatever reason they still put them in the air. But we use them for targets. Iran uses their tiny microscopic fleet of F-14s because it's all they got. But anyway, I really run out of stuff to talk about, guys. I am beat, tired. So I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We had 217 topped out tonight. That was a lot of fun. I want a big thanks to Gonzalo for becoming a member. Thank you, Gonzalo, for joining up. Salute. Doc Flamingo, thank you for 2 super chats. And Alan Canning, thank you for the $2 Canadian super sticker. Love you all. Thank you so much for helping support the show. It was nice to hang out with you guys. I'll be back technically later today, right here, this channel, to play some Gamma World. Join us while we play some Gamma World. Can I talk about mimics and dungeons? Soon. Catch me next time. Anyway, love all you guys. Thanks for hanging out tonight. tune in. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I will see you all on the flip side. Be careful. I think owl bears like to stay up late. Peace.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to